And hi everybody. Tom here. I've got Kristin here.
Hey.
She's an amazing young lady that is going to school with me here at Bethel, and in the School of Supernatural Ministry.
Yes.
She has become one of my daughters, and I just love her so much. She's got this tender heart that I very rarely ever experienced a tender heart as much as hers. So Kristin, good to have you here today.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. This is going to be so fun.
I know. Well, it's pretty windy here in Redding. Like yesterday was as calm as, anything, but today is like super windy. I was walking to church today and my hair blew off. So it's just going to be one of those things. So we're going to have some fun. So Kristin, go ahead. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from.
So I'm from Arkansas. My parents, they're both pastors, and they have raised me with such a heart for the Lord, and they've really pushed me to just see the Lord in everything. And so it's been really great having them. They're amazing, and I really do honor them a lot. My dad, he's a counselor and a pastor and an author, and he does it all. And so it's just he has so much different insight on the Lord, and he's definitely led our church and family just very well. And so I definitely think they both played a big part in me just wanting to do ministry and wanting to be here and do a ministry school. I just want to just take a second, just honor them.
Come on.
But yeah.
How long have they been pastoring?
They've been pastoring for going on, I think this year will be 23 or 24 years. So
wow.
That's my whole life. My whole life they've been pastoring. But they started when my older brother was 6 months old. Crazy.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah, I pastored for a while, and I know the hardships that are there for pastoring. Gotta get a message. I gotta do this, and then you get inspired to write a book,
right.
And then you're like, what did I do that for?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, my dad just actually released his second book. It's called "Oh Daddy, Where Art Thou?" Which is, it's all about daddy issues and how much of it's about your identity and how your identity comes from your father and what it looks like when the father is not, when you don't have a father figure there, and how much of a struggle it is.
Mm-hmm. So 23 years in the ministry. Wow.
It's crazy.
That is crazy.
It's crazy.
So how was it being a PK?
It was good. I mean, people ask me this all the time, and I don't really have anything else to compare it to. I just say my home church, they're amazing, and they are like my family. I don't know who I would be without them, honestly. They've helped raise me. They have helped shape me into who I am today. They've poured out the love of God on me my whole life. So even when my biological family, when they failed, my church family stepped up, and they were always there to just encourage me and lift me up and just bring me back to the Lord, which has been amazing.
That's so good.
That is
so good, having people behind you.
Yeah.
Got a question for you though. What brings you to Redding? You're from Arkansas and you come to Redding, California. What's up with that?
Yeah. So my brother, he's 6 years older than me. He came to first year in 2019. So that's how I heard about Bethel. When he came back after first year, I was just amazed on how much he had changed. I was like, wow, this is a totally different guy that I lived with just 9 months prior to this. And he had changed so much and just was so, he had gained a lot of wisdom being here and just understanding the Lord. And I just wanted some of that, honestly. So when it came time for me to just really think about college and everything, I prayed a lot, and I asked the Lord, if this was where he wanted me to be. I kind of knew when we came here in 2021. I'd always told Lord, I was like, well, I'm so used to my church being my home, being my family. I'm so used to it feeling like home. I told him, I said, I'll go anywhere you want, but I need to have a church that feels like home.
Yeah.
And so in 2021, I came here, and I was 14, I think. And so I was I come here, and I just immediately just felt like at peace, and I felt like I was home, and I knew I was like, yeah, this is where the Lord wants me. I mean, if I'm that much younger than everybody being here when and I feel like home, then it has to feel more like home when I'm like the same age as everybody, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Even younger than some.
Right, yeah. So I was like, okay, I think this is where I want. So time goes on, and I'm still praying, and then the Lord is just like, yeah, like just go for it. No, nothing else sounded good. I didn't have peace about anything else, so I just applied, and here I am.
Yeah, so when did you actually apply? You were here actually last year at this time. We had an open house for BSSM, and so you were here for that.
I was,
right?
Yeah, I was.
What was the thing that struck you?
Man, I don't know. I like everything. I think when we were in class, I think Bill was preaching, and everything Bill has to say was just like liquid gold. I was like, oh my gosh. I just was like taking so many notes. Like I had like pages after pages of notes, and I fell in love. And the worship, oh my gosh, I was like awestruck. Really, I was just. Yeah. So I think the worship and just the teachings and all of the above, I was just like, I need this. I
need it. I'm going.
I need it. I'm going, and I'll be back. Like whatever.
Yeah. And so then you went through the summer.
Yeah.
There was so BSSM has been home for us for the last 5 or 6 months already, and I know that I'm not the same. I've told you guys that before, but describe the first 6 months of your time here.
Oh my goodness. Honestly, I thought it was going to be really hard. I thought it was going to be hard being away from my family, being away from my church, but like, it's just been so easy. Being here has like making all these new connections. It just felt like a new family, and it just felt like home. Honestly, like I haven't really been super homesick, so it just has just felt right. It just felt like home. Being able to just go and be with my friends and explore like all like the new like the things here, and just go out and be bold in the Lord, and all of that stuff has just been amazing. It's just been so like growing. Like it's been awesome. It's been awesome.
It's been a really I know it's been a really deep time for me. And and I've watched our class, just kind of. Now I want to brag on our revival group a little bit for
we have the best one, so might as well, right?
Might as well. There's movers. I've heard this all my life, but there's movers, there's shakers, there's people who make things happen, people who watch what happens, and there's people who wonder what in the world happened. And our revival group is just so powerful in the Lord, hungry. I mean, that's the big thing. And I was watching a video yesterday. Bill was talking to his grandson, and his grandson asked him this question. He goes like, "What do you need to have revival?" And Bill said, "One hungry person." Well, we have 67 hungry people in our revival group. And oh, I'm sorry, I'm bumping you guys. I apologize. I don't apologize for that. But it's just something about our revival group that we're really hungry for more of the presence of God manifested through our lives, and bringing the life of Jesus to other people, especially our city here right now, moving forward probably into their cities. So that's been really, really cool. So you've done this. So how did you? I know you're a PK, but how did you come to the Lord? I mean, there had to be a moment, right?
Well, I mean, I grew up in church, so I mean, like the Lord not being in your life was just not even like I couldn't comprehend that. Like I couldn't comprehend life without God, like ever since I was a kid. But when I was about 5 years old, I was like, I'm doing this for the rest of my life. So I was in my little Sunday school class or whatever, and I think we were talking about it. Honestly, I don't remember fully. I just remember being like walked through the prayer, and by my children's church pastor at the time, and so I gave my life to the Lord. That I think it was like a Wednesday night, and then I came back and I was like, Mom, Dad, I got saved. I was like, yep, I got saved, and that's it. Now I need to be baptized.
Yeah, yeah. One of the biggest honors that I had was baptizing my children. That was really cool.
Yeah.
I baptized 4 of them
Wow.
in the Baltic Sea in Latvia. That was
Oh
really,
my gosh, that's awesome.
Those of you who don't know, the Baltic Sea is like this sandbar for about 2 football field lengths, and so you had to go away. So we decided, no, we're just going to go a short way, kneel down and do the dunk. So that was a real honor for me.
That's amazing.
That was a real honor for me to baptize that time. You know, a lot of people feel like being a PK, you know, I've been saved, you know, most of my life. I got saved as a baby, but you guys don't understand when that is probably the greatest testimony of all. I mean, you know, you guys didn't. I mean, I know you go through stuff. I mean, I've watched my kids, but you didn't have to deal with, you know, getting shot at and getting drugged out. You didn't.
Right.
You didn't have to deal with all that stuff. You know.
Yeah.
I've been in rehab for 25 years. And, you know, you don't have to deal with that. But that's probably an even greater testimony than those of us who have.
Yeah.
You know. So
yeah, definitely.
And that you've. I mean, I know you're still young, but. That when you get to going through those ages of the teen years and you're moving forward and you're going through school and did you go to a private school?
I actually went to public school.
School, yeah, and then you made it through that.
Yeah.
That indoctrination. So.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, public school in the South is just way different.
Yeah. We're not talking about how bad life is outside of the church, but it's different. And. And then so just that you made it through that.
Yeah.
And now you're in ministry. What kind of ministry do you want to get into?
Honestly, like, I don't really know. I mean, personally right now, I'm feeling really like drawn to missions. I'm feeling drawn to like the unreached, like the Middle East, you know, India, like all these these closed places. Like that's where I want to go. I want to go and out and just see like, man, this is how hungry people are. When you get to the realm of the unreached, I feel like those are the most hungry people you'll ever encounter. Yeah. Like, because they know what they're missing out on, and they don't care what they have to lose. Like they'll lose it all, and that's where I aspire to be. I want to be able to lose it all to put my life at risk. Like that's what I want to do. So yeah, like missions at the moment, but really whatever God wants me to do. But I know it's not going to be something chill.
Yeah.
Office jobs are not for me.
Yeah, well, the Middle East, that's a different kind of world right there.
Well, yeah. But the thing is, you need people that look like me to do it. You know,
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, we need people that look like Jesus, and you do. You have. One of the things that I do, I watch you during worship. I mean, I'm watching the congregation during worship at school, and there are people that dive in, and there are people that really just kind of like, oh, I wonder how far we're going to go with this thing, and you like really just go for it. Yeah. Like there's no questions about it at all.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah. So, how have you adjusted to Reading and the kind of stuff that's here? I mean, you're going to the Middle East. So.
Yeah. Well, like you're talking about, like how I just go for it. That's like new. That's a new thing. Like back home, my church has like a very Baptist background. So the people there are a little bit more chill than that. So it's like being here, I'm like the Lord's broken off fear, man, all that stuff. So I'm just like, you know what? Who cares? I'm just gonna do whatever. So like that's one thing about being here. It's just being. It's like that freedom of just being able to just do whatever. And then just Reading in particular, like the town, I mean, for starters, it's beautiful. I mean, goodness, mountains everywhere. I mean, all of that. I love it. The people, I mean, I haven't really had crazy encounters. I mean, they're definitely not as polite as the South, I'll say, on some occasions. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. But there's quite a big homeless population here, which kind of, it's sad. It's really heartbreaking. Back home, we had like maybe 3 homeless people like in my hometown. So I mean, seeing everybody and like just how they have to adjust to everything here, the weather, like the location, all of that. It's very heartbreaking. So I think in some aspects, like the city needs a lot of Jesus, but but I also think that we as Bethel and as BSSM students, like we do a lot to help bring Jesus outside of these four walls, which is great.
That's the big thing. That's the thing that drew me to Bethel to begin with, was that they were not satisfied with the four walls.
For sure.
And you know, Reading is not, for those of you who don't know, Reading is not like the most Christian city. We have parts of Reading that are that they will drop off prisoners from Southern California, and they'll be here and they have no place to go. They're homeless, and I work with the homeless every week, and so it's a real chore. And to know that people love them, that's really all that it boils down to. I mean, the real homeless ones, that there are fakes, but it is what it is. There's fakes in the church, there's fakes in the bar, there's fakes in
literally can't go everywhere. I mean, there's gonna be somebody.
So you're going on a missions trip coming up, right?
I am. I'm going to Guatemala.
Guatemala.
I'm so excited. Oh my goodness. Like that just we're going for 10 days. So we're going from the 20th through the 30th of March. And wow, just already there's just so many testimonies about it. Like that's the fundraising, the meetings, and just getting to know like what we're gonna do has just been awesome. Like I think we're talking about doing orphanage, like we're gonna go to orphanages, we're gonna go to schools, we're gonna go street evangelize, prisons, women's shelters, refugee centers. I mean, all these places, and I'm like, yes, I'm like, that's what I want. I want to do that. But I want to reach everybody, like go to the whole nation. You know,
you're gonna lose your heart in the orphanage. I'm just saying.
I know that's something that actually I've had such a heart for. In general, is just the orphanage, because I'm like, but I don't know how much I could do for it. I'm like, I don't know how long I could deal with that, because I mean, all these kids just having nobody. It's just, it's terrible, really. But I mean, just like you were saying here, just like feeling loved. That's even for the kids. That's all they want, is just to feel loved and appreciated and chosen, and bringing that light and bringing that from the Lord just to them is just amazing.
Yeah, it's a different world down there. It's a different, like it's like Eastern Europe in a lot of respects, but they look at you with these puppy dog eyes, like, and you're,
and I'm like, I gotta take you home.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But they're desperate for Jesus. I mean, the whole world is desperate for Jesus. So we're gonna just let you talk.
Okay.
Whatever you want to say. If you want to share a word, you want to share whatever's on your heart. I really feel that you carry something, and you know, I'll be honest. I watched your live when you went home, and it was so cool. I was like, okay, well, she has a lot of stuff on her heart to share that God really placed in her heart. And by the way, I just want to say that part of what I do is I watch people. I watch how they react. I watch what they do. And I can't say I've only seen a handful of people that have a love in their heart that this woman has. Oh, by the way, do you need money for your missions trip?
No, actually, I've fully funded it. It was amazing. Oh my God, it's so good.
That's awesome, man.
I know, right? I'm like, wow.
Yeah, there are people that are struggling to get their finances for.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're fully funded. That's one less thing.
I know. Yeah, that's just something the Lord has just been. He's been just showing me how much of a provider He is.
Yeah.
Like being here, like I knew that was kind of gonna have to be like just something that I grew in. Because I mean, my parents have always provided for me, so I've never had to worry about that. Then I started working, and then I provided for myself. Like I didn't have to worry. I always had money coming in. I have a good work ethic, and I just want to work, and I want to do all these things. Like when I was in high school and I was working like 30 hours a week. I'm like, and like pulling doubles on Saturday. Like
Wow.
my birthday for the past like 2 years, like the 2 years that I was there, I worked on my birthday. This like past birthday that I had, I worked 16 hours. I worked my last day. I worked open to close. I was like, I just want to work.
Wow.
So being here, I asked the Lord. I was like, should I get a job? And He goes, no. And I was like, I think that was me. I was like, let me just apply to some places. So I applied to a few places, heard nothing back, and I was like, okay, I can handle that. Let me just wait until after Christmas. Maybe after Christmas, like I'll be good. So during Christmas break, I kind of prayed about it, thought about it, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna apply for DoorDash because then I get to make my own hours. That time I can spend with the Lord, whatever. And then I applied for DoorDash, and they were like, we're not hiring. I'm like, what the heck? Who does like, since when does DoorDash not hire? You know, I've never heard of that ever being an issue. And so that was like, that's been a struggle. But I really prayed before I left. I was like, Lord, I do not want to stress about having to meet deadlines. I do not want to stress about having to pay for this mission trip and fundraise this mission trip while I'm back home. So I was like, Lord, all I'm asking is just pay it off before I leave. And He did. Literally the day before I left, I had my somebody donated more than my last milestone. So I had my dad paid off that last milestone with that money, and then I just had him sell it to somebody else. But oh my gosh, the Lord is just going above and beyond like everything that I've like ever thought. And I'm like, oh my gosh. It's like I can't even wrap my head around it. I'm like, wow. And like, you know, like they talk about here, like having a kingdom mindset and like taking your situation and looking above it. And you know, I've really tried. I really like had to learn how to do that because I mean, like how like in the world, like moving across the country with only your month's rent, like only like I had enough money to cover the 9 months that I was here and like a little bit extra, but not nearly enough of what I needed.
Right.
And looking from the world, like how are you supposed to do that without working? And that's just that's just something that I had to learn about that kingdom mindset. I was having to look above my finances and having to look above what I needed and just realize like, okay, Lord, this is what I need. And you brought me here. Like your will, your bill. You know what I'm saying? That's been my motto. Being here, I'm like, that's what I need.
Now that's not just hang on. That's not if it's your will, it's your bill. You have to hear from God. You can't just assume that. You have to hear from the Lord. And, you know, and I know I've said it a number of times, but you really have to hear from God. But God is your Father. And this is just an aside, but God is your Father. And a man who will not take care of his family, the Bible says, is worse than an unbeliever and has denied the faith. And God doesn't deny the faith, nor is He an unbeliever, but He is your Father, and He is provider, and so that's really cool. Yeah, and something the Lord's been like showing me, it's like if your Father, who is evil, can give good gifts, and how much more could your Father give you? You know? Yeah. So I'm like, man, growing up, my dad always did give me good gifts, but I'm like, but God is so much better. I'm like, how much? And so like when I just think that I'm like. Oh yeah, this is amazing. God just does something that's just even more. And I'm like, just blown away. Yeah. I'm blown away. That is so good.
I think everybody should just listen to God and like just move somewhere and just trust Him fully because I mean, wow. Like
living a life of faith is not a, how do you say it in English?
It's not for the weak.
No, you have to have some sort of a constitution in your heart because it is not the easiest thing. And I mean, there are people who push themselves to live by faith. I don't know, one of my heroes of the faith happens to be George Mueller, who had, he didn't do anything except live by faith. He ran all these orphanages. He gave millions of dollars to Hudson Taylor in China simply by faith. I mean, he would have nights in his orphanage with no food on the table, the kids sitting around the table with empty plates, and they were thanking the Lord and then there would be a knock on the door, and people would show up with food. It's like that was a regular thing for him. He he donated to, I think he donated to Reese Howells as well.
Wow.
So it was really
That's amazing.
yeah, and it takes a big constitution.
It takes a lot.
Yeah,
It does.
it
Like
really does.
I was, yeah, like it's a lot. Like it's easier said than done for
Yeah.
sure. Like coming here, I was like, oh, before I moved, I was like, God will provide, and it'll be just fine. And then I get down, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I only have one month's rent. I'm like, Lord, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, God, you guys come, and I'm like freaking out for absolutely no reason because I still have the next month covered. You know what I mean? So it's like whatever. And then I'm like, God, I don't know what to do. Like, I hate asking people for money. Like, I don't know. Like God, you're just gonna have to pull through. And I'm like, doubting. And I'm like, okay. Like, I'm like talking to my parents. They're like, Kristin, like, chill out for starters. Like, calm down. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I know, but, and they're like, just calm down. Like, the Lord will provide. Like, He brought you there. He gave you everything you needed so far. Why would He just stop? You know what I mean? And so they've definitely played a big part in like keeping my peace here.
He doesn't bring you someplace to let you down, you know.
Exactly.
And let's say I heard this the other day. Let's say you do something like you go somewhere that you feel like, you know, later on you're looking at it. Well, God didn't send me there. Don't you think God is big enough that He's like, God, I'll take care of him. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know how many times your kids, you know, they do something really stupid and the spirit of stupid comes on them, and then you got to.
Then the spirit of slap comes on you.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like,
the Bible says, "Whatever your hand finds to do it with all your might." You know. So, that's why I have no hair. My dad would go like this one.
Oh my God.
Anyway, yeah. So I apologize for taking that rabbit trail, but just go with whatever's on your heart to share. I'm going to shut up, promise. And I know that's, for many of you, think that's really hard. It really is. But go ahead and just share your heart. I want to hear something that God's put there and that you feel like you want to give to all these people watching.
Okay. Yeah. Man, I don't know. I mean, just all I can think is just the Lord is just so good. I mean, like every time for me, like when I've thought things were gonna fail, and I thought there was gonna be no way for everything. I mean, like there's been times where I was like, Lord, I just really want a coffee, and people bought my coffee. And there's been times where I was like, when I was coming here, I was looking for a house, and I was like, okay, Lord, I want a house that looks nice. I want I don't want to share a room. I don't want to like share a bathroom with more than one person. Like, and literally like everything from my, like, honestly, my whole life has just been covered by the Lord. And I often think of my past and just how much the Lord has protected me. Like there was times where I just was making stupid decisions, and the Lord just like protected me through it. And I'm like, wow. Like, so like from people, from friendships, from heartache, all of the above, like He has just really just gone and protected me from things that, looking back, like in the moment I didn't see, but looking back would have been a big issue. And that's just something that the Lord has just really, really done for me. And like growing up, my dad, he wasn't always a Christian. Like he has his own testimony, and so he kind of knows, like he understands, like growing up, like I had freedom, so it was really great to have freedom. And I know a lot of PKs, like grow up with the idea that they have no freedom, and they don't have any like wiggle room, so to speak. Like they just go out and they rebel. And my parents have never once like stopped me from just doing my own thing. Like I had freedom. I didn't feel like I was like just locked in on this perfect path. Now the people around me may have put me on that perfect path, but it was never my parents. Like they never did that. And that's something that I'm really, really grateful for, because I listen to people all the time, and they're like, oh, my parents, like they forced me to go to church, and my dad, he's a pastor, and he was so great at church, but then at home he was terrible. And I mean, I'm not saying that like my family doesn't have like our own issues. We definitely do have our own issues, but it was never like a question of me, like for me, on if my parents loved me or if like they were so different at home than they were like in like at church. And I mean like obviously like everybody kind of has a bit of a filter when it comes like especially as a pastor, you can't just say whatever.
Yeah.
So in a sense, like yeah, we like had a filter, but it wasn't like we were completely two opposite people.
Yeah.
So that was something that like really just helped me a lot. Like people have asked me before, they're like, did you ever feel forced to go to church or was it a choice? And it wasn't like it was a choice. Like I was like, we did go, that wasn't a question, but I never felt like forced. I never felt like I had to, like it was like a chore that I had to do, that I had to go to church on Sunday. It was like seeing my family, and it was like a big reunion every Sunday. So I don't know, all that to say, the Lord's just really good. And being here is just like magnified that a lot. And it's just, I have no words. Like I have no words. My love for the Lord has just grown in such a depth that I've never thought possible. Like I've never thought that the Lord was just like, everybody says like, oh yeah, like God has everything, and God's like, you know, like he's like, he has all the expenses, like he's rich and he's this, that, and the other, and he has all these things. And I'm like, yeah, I believe that. I believe that fully. But it's how much do I trust that? And so my trust and all of that is just, I've never been let down. I've never been let down.
Come on.
So yeah.
That is so amazing. Good. God is good. And if you're ever wondering if God is good, God is good. And what he does is he takes goodness to the extreme. Now, many people say, well, you know, does he, you know, if he's so good, why is this happening? Well, we do have a devil, right? And we have this thing that God is saying that, hey, you know, you gave the keys of the kingdom. Adam gave the keys to the devil. Jesus won them back, and we just have to walk in that. So,
yeah.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wow.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, awesome.
This has been awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about the wind and it usually isn't this cold and rainy. I'm just saying. So. Yeah.
One thing though I did want to do before, I just wanted to honor you, Tom. You have been such an amazing part of BSSM for me. And you have I remember the first time we met was actually out here.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, you're in my RG. And then you just gave me this prophetic word and all this stuff. And I'm just like, and I was just like, wow. And then the more I've gotten to know you, like you were the same person in every situation, in every location. And you have just shown me the real, like the heart of a father. And it's just been so amazing. So it's made being here a lot easier. That is for sure.
Well,
so I just wanted to honor you. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot, actually. Yeah. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Cool. Man. What is this liquidy stuff coming out of my eyes? I have no idea. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. Just want to bless you as well, knowing that the Spirit of the Lord is upon you, and you get to do these things. If you want more information, tomandsarah@outlook.com or tomandsarah@gmail.com. And then if any of you want to give into her future going forward into the Middle East and missions and stuff like that, contact me. I'll get you in contact with Kristin here, and then we'll just go from there. Okay. God bless you guys. Have a great day. And man, it's Saturday. It's cold in Reading, but man, oh man, thank God spring is around the corner. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye. That was awesome.